What's up, Grace Report and thank you, Anne, for the 10 gifted memberships. Welcome, Tyranna, Honey, Daniel, Cheryl King, Kat, Priscilla, Chrissy, Marciana. Have a laugh on me and be a stone to the Wolfpack. Hearts for Anne and the new Wolfpack members, and we're gonna have some skeletons. What's up, Grayson Report? Happy Saturday. How is everyone doing? How's your Saturday going? What is up? Carol, Delayed Lux, Gunner Girl, Bernadette, Heather, whatever, Gunner Girl, Matthew, Tyranna, Joanne, Heather, whatever. What is up, everyone? Did you guys do anything interesting today while we wait a few minutes for people to trickle in before we get into the main topics here? And thanks again, Anne. You are awesome. I finally got a chance. I think it was on Peacock. On Peacock? I think it is Peacock. Finally got a chance to see the Blumhouse film Night Swim. It was all right. Wasn't the greatest. It was a little better than what I was expecting because I was expecting a train wreck, but it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Heather, whatever goes, worked on taxes again. I'm not a whiz at this. Jen, what's up? Taxes give me headaches when I'm doing them. Tammy, what's up? And then, as I was saying in my last stream, I discovered horror shorts here on YouTube, so I've been watching a bunch of those, and they're actually kind of good. They're really short. They're probably about 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most, but they're actually kind of good. They kind of, for them being so short, they kind of make some of these big budgeted horror films go to shame. Did anyone do anything excited this weekend before I get into my main topics as we're waiting? And we have rain today. It finally decided to show itself. They've been anticipating rain here in SoCal. So I've been waiting for it all day. It finally came. Tyranna goes, just got home from my niece's baby shower. It was fun. Oh, super cool. And goes, I don't know if she wants me to say it out loud, but you guys could read her comment. Oh wow. Hopefully that's not something too serious. And something that's not causing you too much trouble. Bernadette caught up on sleep. That is good. That's what the weekends are for. My sleep is precious. Anne goes, it was annoying to the doctor. Okay. Otherwise, I'm hoping you were okay. Because that sounds kind of scary. Jen is doing a family tree for a friend. That sounds interesting. Anne goes, yes, I'm going to be okay. That is good. I am glad to hear it. Elaine, what is up? How's it going? Have any of you guys seen any recent horror films? I wanted to see what was it? Baghead and that one, what is the name of that one? That one cuz it's on Shutter. That one with David Dasmalchian. Late Night with the Devil. But unfortunately, my TV has the app, but Lewis's TV does not have the app, so we couldn't watch it. I even was trying to figure out how to cast it from my phone. This is a funny story, just don't tell. I kept casting I kept casting it to the wrong TV, and you can it was hilarious. I kept casting it to his son's TV, and you could hear him. He's like, "What the?" And I'm like, "Oops." Elaine goes, "Just watch The Nun 2 today." Oh, that sounds cool. Elaine, what did you think of it? Tyrana goes, "Wants to watch Night Swim, haven't gotten around to it." It's the typical, if you guys are familiar with Blumhouse, it's the typical Blumhouse film. I don't know if this is just two Blumhouse films, but you know how the horror films nowadays they have this loud noise and then something pops up? Well, that's what happens. I'm not going to give it away though, but that's that seems to be what happens. And then yeah. Lisa and Bernadette are so cool. What is up? D Nice, how many days? Is it 7 days yet? Lisa Boo, what's up? Project Metal Music says A up. A up, Project Metal Music. Elaine goes, "I liked it. Talking about The Nun 2, it held my interest and was a good plot." Okay, I'm glad you liked it, Elaine. It was okay for me. Chris, what's up? Ozzy Walks, what's up? I'm gonna wait a few more minutes, guys, for a few people to trickle in. Bernadette goes, "Okay, I finally see that Bean J Duck well, he's out in the open today. I couldn't think of anywhere to put him. But Skeleduck, which is his picture is in the upper right hand corner. He is somewhere in this background. It's an easy one, guys. He is out in the open, ready to mingle. If I will reveal his location, he's somewhere behind me. I will reveal his location at the end of the stream. Just remind me because sometimes I forget. Lisa or D Dice goes 8 more days. Darn, I wanted to do the 7 days. Chris was watching garage sale videos. That sounds interesting. Some of those are actually interesting. I've seen a few of those. And the stuff that they find is crazy. All right, guys, before I get into my main topics here, I have this little article from Tech Radar, and it's 8 new horror movies on Max, Paramount Plus, Shudder, or more in April. If you guys are looking for your horror movie fix, I like to do a little horror movie news at the beginning of my streams. And I thought this one would be kind of cool because these are streaming. It's all about the hot new releases this month. Considering how long January lasted, how can it be April already? Who knows? Witchcraft? Devilry? Probably the latter if we take into account the new horror movies to stream this month, which boast 2 occult-centric titles, 2009's The House of the Devil and the year's must-see Late Night with the Devil. Of course, if the satanic panic vibe isn't for you, there's plenty of other horrors hitting streamers. Paramount Plus drops the creepy as hell Talk to Me. All right, I Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus. Let me pause on that for a second, all right? I have Paramount Plus. Do you guys understand how long I've been wanting to see Talk to Me? Because there is some sort of people are saying it's like the best horror movie, and I'm like, all right, well, I want to see what this is about. What's the hype about? So I'm like, oh my God, it's on Paramount Plus. Oh, hell yeah, I've got Paramount Plus. So I go over there. It says, well, you need to change your plan. I'm like, what the? Like, really? Then why even freaking announce it? I don't know what plan you need to have that I don't have that you have to pay for to see Talk to Me. But just an FYI, if you don't have that plan on Paramount Plus, I must have like a basic plan or something. You cannot see Talk to Me. And that totally annoys me. It really does. Because I've been wanting to see that film for like a gazillion years, it seems like. And I'm like, finally. And I go rush to Paramount Plus last night, and it's like, oh, go here and go to billing to update your. And I was like, what? Forget this, Paramount Plus. You're on my S list today. So just an FYI, if you guys are looking for that film, I don't know what tier, I don't know how many tiers Paramount Plus has, but it must have more than one, and that's the one that I do not have. Shudder's catalog includes a 90s thriller and a new French arachnid affair, and Max gets The Strangers just in time for the prequel to hit movie theaters. All in all, a little of something for everyone's taste. Devils, creatures, and a nasty home invasion pick. Go on, scare yourself. So Talk to Me is already, apparently it's on Paramount Plus on April 1st. If you guys you did not hear it from me. If you guys have a VPN, it is in Netflix in Australia, in the UK, if you guys are in those areas. But if you have a VPN, you did not hear this from me. You might be able to see it on Netflix, which I don't have a VPN. Arguably, last year's most talked about horror film, Talk to Me, hails from Australian filmmaker siblings Danny and Michael Philippou. The duo's first feature-length movie revolves around a mysterious hand artifact imbued with a supernatural ability. When a person holds the hand and utters the titular words, they're suddenly flooded with a spirit that takes control of their body. Naturally, this incredibly dangerous item falls into the hands of teenagers, in particular Mia, played by Sophie Wilde, who is grieving the death of her mother. What the film nails perfectly is the carefree frivolity surrounding the hand. The teens use it like a party piece, something to spice up a dull night. Things spiral out of control in a dazzling display of special effects and wild plotting. Do not miss. And like I said, apparently it's got they're saying it's like the best horror movie. Thank you, Elaine, for the super chat for Talk to Me. Hearts for Elaine, guys. And I'll give you the because that's as much as I could get them to twerk. Hearts for Elaine, guys. Thank you, Elaine. I appreciate that. Brandon, what is up? The Strangers. This is an older movie, so, and I've seen it. I haven't seen it in a while, though. It came out in 2008. Knock at the Door in the Middle of the Night. There is a new one that's supposed to come out. I'm not sure when. I don't remember when it's coming out in theaters, but this is kind of, if you're prepping yourself for the new one, this is a good one to go back to. A knock at the door in the middle of the night. It's a scenario you might entertain as a reason to install a Ring camera, then shun immediately as it's too horrible to face. Brian Bertino leans into this prospect, making a terrible night even worse for couple Kristen, Liv Tyler, and James Scott Speedman, who are on the cusp of a breakup when a trio of masked strangers arrived at their home. What unravels over the next 80 minutes is a jolt to the home invasion subgenre as the couple are gaslit, taunted, and stalked. By far, the most terrifying moment stems from a single line of dialogue uttered by one of their pursuers, but will leave Unspoiled. Make sure to check this off your list before the first in a new trilogy of Strangers movies hits theaters next month. Strangers, the strangers, I mean, the masks in the strangers are creepy looking. I do like that about it, but I'm not like a super huge fan of the franchise. Mute Witness, which is also another film. I don't think I've ever heard of it or seen it. A Real Gem, sadly banished, and it looks like it's on Shudder for those of you that have Shudder. Shudder is a good place. It's pretty much all horror, and if you guys ever want to check it out, it's basically all horror. A Real Gem, sadly banished to an old DVD release with zero streaming options for years, finally hit Shudder. Arriving shortly before the wave of 90s teen horror, the outing from American Werewolf in Paris helmer Anthony Waller revolves around the shooting of a low-budget slasher in Moscow. One night, mute special effects artist Billy Marina Zudina stumbles across two men filming a snuff movie who makes it their mission to find her. Her night doesn't stop there as she becomes embroiled in a chase across the city. There's tense, nerve-shredding stuff that tosses in plenty of humor to balance the scares. A brilliant 90s thriller that's flown under the radar for too long. Night Swim, as I was talking about earlier, it is on Peacock. If you are in the UK and Australia, it's on Amazon Video. I was able to watch it last night. It is okay. I like the concepts. There's a few things I do like about it, but I don't want to give it away for people that haven't seen it. So it is there now on Peacock for those of you that want to catch it and is looking for a horror film to watch tonight. Blumhouse earned its stripes making scary blockbusters for peanuts, and that trend continues in 2024. What makes Night Swim so effective is its simplicity. It might not dazzle with grandiosity, but it is a nifty suburban horror that excels on account of its performances. Wyatt Russell stars as Ray Waller, a former baseball star forced into retirement on account of his chronic illness. He and his wife Eve, Carrie Conlon, and their two kids relocate to a new home that boasts an outdoor pool. This is no ordinary pool, however, as the family all encounters strange happenings, including the cat. The story bounces between the reality of Ray's predicament and the unexpected benefits the pool offers, with a bunch of jump scares and a wacky third act borrowed from The Shining. It's perfect Friday night viewing. Yes, there is jump scares in it and wannabe jump scares, but if you are looking for a horror movie, if you're in the mood, that's a good one to catch. Late Night with the Devil, I haven't been able to catch this one yet. I was able to see the trailer and it looks kind of interesting. It is on Shudder. What would you get if you crossed The Exorcist with Ghostwatch? Probably this. It was a buzzy hit even before its limited theatrical run, thanks to its huge audience response at the 2023 genre festivals. Written and directed by Cameron and Colin Carnes, another Antipodian sibling duo, the movie unfurls like a found footage documentary with a regular television broadcast at its heart. That show is a syndicated talk show called Night's Owl or Night Owls and hosted by Jack Delroy, David Dashmalchian, whose recent personal tragedies have affected the show's numbers. Delroy takes it upon himself to spice up their Halloween episode by bringing a possessed girl onto the show in an attempt to boost ratings. Dark, delicious, and a wholly fresh take on the possession tale, Late Night with the Devil, might just be the best horror of the year. And I've been looking forward to that because it's something different. Um Something that uh I've never seen before in a horror film. So I'm kind of actually looking for that. Looking forward to seeing that. Saw X, if you guys have not, it's gonna be on Stars, which I do not have, but for any of you that do have, and it's gonna be released on April 19th. Amazing film. I'm a huge Saw fan. Still need to get Billy the Doll. He is on my bucket list. Honestly, Saw X has no right to be this good. As the 10th century in the torturous franchise, you might expect another by the number slasher replete with Jigsaw incomprehensibly reappearing from beyond the grave to dispense more of his vigilant justice. Well, the latter part is true. Jigsaw is back, but there's nothing humdrum here. Wedged between the events of Saw and Saw 2, this legacy in between quel follows John Kramer as he seeks radical cancer treatments in Mexico, but is ultimately scammed. The meat of this movie follows John and long surviving sidekick Amanda Shawnee Smith is back as they bring those responsible to justice. It's bloody, it's tragic, it's got some of the gnarliest traps the franchise has seen, but really, this one works so well because it's unbeholden to the tangled web of mythology most other sequels struggle to balance. And apparently, if you guys are looking forward to Saw 11, and it was supposed to come out this year, but they pushed it to, I believe, September 2025. So I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe they want, because of the success of Saw X, they want to make sure that they deliver a great film. So maybe that is why they pushed it. I am not sure. Chris Barber goes, I haven't seen a good Saw movie since the second one. Saw X is actually pretty good. I had very low expectations for it, but because I'm like, oh my god, another one. But I had very low expectations for it, but I really enjoyed it. I had fun. So the House of the Devil, which is also on Shudder, and it will be out on April 22nd, ahead of Ty West trilogy caper Maxine, hitting cinemas this year, which I cannot wait. I was a huge fan of. I actually, it's a trilogy, I guess. If you guys haven't or not familiar with Maxine, it starts off with X, then goes into Pearl, and Maxine is the one I've been anticipating. The trailer looks amazing. Um, Pearl is the one I actually enjoyed the most. I really want to get a movie poster for Pearl. That one I enjoyed more than X, but Maxine looks amazing. Now, as good a time as any to revisit the indie horror Helmer's back catalog. The House of the Devil is a sublime slice of satanic panic throwback cinema, a slow burn that captivates even when we follow characters' everyday activities. West's decision to shoot in 16 millimeter to capture that 1970s aesthetics is the reason it's so delightful to watch. Things kick off as college student Samantha Jocelyn Donahue responds to a babysitting ad and finds herself in a peculiar house taking care of an ailing woman whom she must not disturb. As the title suggests, all is not right, and before long, sudden gratuitous, I sudden gratuitous violence burst from the screen like the Kool-Aid Man. Donahue is forced of nature as Sam, a final girl who isn't talked about nearly enough. Carol goes, I saw a show on ID this week on how they got the DNA for Jack the Ripper. Oh, super cool. We will be getting into the after I get through this article. I was just waiting for a bunch of people to trickle in before I started on that, but that is next, Carol, so stay tuned. What's up, Julissa saying happy Saturday, Lisa. Hello, everyone. Infested. This one is coming out on April 26th on Shudder. Spiders are making a comeback into your nightmares, mostly with long legs. All right, so it might not be about them. And Sting on the theatrical horizon. Get your small string helping of arachnophobia from Infested. The French horror packs in some truly special creature effects and entangles them in genuine human story. The movie follows Caleb, Theo, Christine on the cusp of turning 30 and struggling with his sister and his best friend. He turns to his love of animals for comfort, except the venomous spider he brings home turns loose and begins to recreate at an alarming rate, attacking his entire apartment block. Director Sebastian Vanecek is on the rise thanks to the movie's reception at a numerous Movies Festival. It won Best Picture and Best Director at its US premiere at Fantastic Fest, and it's tapped to write and direct the new Evil Dead spin-off, just in case the spiders weren't enough incentive. That movie, I saw the trailer, a little bit of the trailer. Spiders don't scare me. So, but if you're in the mood, spiders scare you in the mood for a French film, check that one out. And if you have Shudder, guys, what did you think of those movies, and which one do you want to check out of those movies? Elaine goes there. There's one about live streaming an exorcism accidentally. The Cleansing Hour. It's cool. It's a Shudder original. I'll have to check that out. I kind of forget that I have Shudder, but there are amazing films on Shudder that they don't have anywhere else. Chris Barber goes, I like spiders as long as they aren't on me. I kind of agree with you on that one, but they don't. I'm not like scared of them. I guess unless it's like the huge huntsman spiders that Australia have. I've seen pictures and videos. Oh my god, they're like huge. I'm like, no, nope, nope. I think that's the only one. If I saw that, that would scare the crap out of me. That one I would not want in my house. But you never know. I might see it and think it's cool. So it might be the opposite. I might be saying no now, and I'll be like, oh my god, this is so cool when I actually see one. But I am looking forward to Talk to Me. What was it? Paramount Plus. You need to put it on all memberships or subscriptions. And Late Night with the Devil with David Dalmatian. What? I always forget how to say his last name. Dalmatian. Dasmalchian. There you go. David Dasmalchian. I'm looking forward to that. I did see Night Swim, but those are like the two that I want to see. And there's also one that they didn't mention in that article, Baghead, which is also on Shudder. I'm kind of talking about Shudder movies here. That one, I saw the trailer and I'm hoping to catch that. I might watch that after the stream, actually. Tyrana goes, I love horror movies. They are my favorites. Ozzy goes, I had one at my place over the toilet door as big as a dinner plate. Oh, no. No. But you know what? To be honest with you, if I saw one up close, I'd probably think they were awesome. I would. I wouldn't. I don't know about it being in my house, but. Brandon goes, did you like Night Swim? It was okay. It caught it was okay. I like the concept of it. I like the concept of it. It was okay. It didn't scare me, but most of those don't anymore. So, but it was. I didn't feel like I wasted my time with it. So, because you know how some of those movies you watch and you're like, why did I watch that? That one I didn't. I didn't feel that like that during that. It was for me. It was okay, but I have a feeling like a lot of people may like it because it's like a different. It's a cool concept. The jump scares weren't that bad in it. Not like in the Conjuring universe. They were subtle. So, and when I say jump scares not so bad, I'm talking about like, the Conjuring jump scares where it's like something jumps out in front of you and then the loud music. It wasn't that bad. Like it was toned down a bit. Cuz I like the jump scares that you don't know is a jump scare type of thing, not where they have to put the loud music or the like, when you're panning the camera and you got your main actress there and you see the like whatever it is, they're look like the ghost or creature or whatever behind them. That's the type of thing I like. To me, that's what I like. Or you see something behind the main actor and it's crawling on the wall. Stuff like that. All right, guys, we are going to get into who was Jack the Ripper. And it's from All That's Interesting. I've always been fascinated with Jack the Ripper. It just always fascinated me. I know it's a little more true crime-ish. I feel it's more of a crime thing than horror, but I kind of consider him horror too. Um Elaine goes, the damn medicine cabinet that closes and nothing is there. Then Dusty, what is up? Like subtle scares. That's what I like. I don't need the in the camera and the loud music or what do? They try to this or someone's in the trunk of their car and they get up and it's their kid, standing there type of jump scare. Heather Ritter goes, yes, pretty horrible crime. So I feel like he is horrific. But I always say like true crime and horror go hand in hand. What some people do are horrific. So this one's from All That Interesting. And it goes, who was Jack the Ripper inside the century-old mystery and the leading theories today? An unidentified serial killer who murdered at least 5 women in London in 1888, Jack the Ripper's identity remains one of history's most infamous unsolved mysteries. Jack the Ripper was one of history's most infamous killers stalking the streets of London, Whitechapel district during the 1888 Autumn of Terror. The Ripper has remained a point of fascination over a century, but one question stands out above the rest. Who was Jack the Ripper? And I bet you he was a guy that no one would suspect. Like no one would suspect him. He was probably like your everyday Joe, uh, with a dark, you know, he was one thing during the day and at night he was this dark, menacing person. Chris Barber goes, the movie From Hell did a great job of recreating the crime scenes. I know of that film, but I don't know if I don't think I've seen it. From Hell, that's Johnny Depp, right? If I'm not mistaken. I don't think I've seen that one. To this day, despite countless examination of the Whitechapel murders, the Ripper's true identity remains unknown. There have been numerous suspects and theories suggested throughout the years, but no official consensus has been reached regarding Jack the Ripper's identity. In more recent years, though, and new evidence and methods of analysis have brought researchers closer to an answer than ever before. Still, there is some contention among scholars. Officially, Jack the Ripper's identity remains a mystery, but there are a few theories that have seemingly solid evidence and it's worth shedding some light on. Bernadette Goes From Hell was okay, some bad acting in there though. Angel goes, I know they were looking into a possible surgeon being responsible. Julissa goes, he could have been law enforcement and that's why he got away with it. Very could be. Chris Barber also goes, I've heard about a Polish immigrant. Farts, what's up? How are you doing? Who was Jack the Ripper? How the head-scratching mystery began. Starting in the end of August in 1888, a series of grisly murders took place in Whitechapel, each more macabre than the last. The crimes became I cannot talk today. What is up with that? Became an infamous media sensation while putting the citizens of London on edge. Eventually, a letter known as the Dear Boss letter emerged in which someone claiming to be the killer dubbed himself Jack the Ripper. He had a name, but no one knew who Jack the Ripper was. In all, 5 women's murders were officially attributed to the Ripper. The 5 canonical victims of Jack the Ripper were Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Let me see if it says. And if you want, it does go into each one of these women's life, which I could do after. Then one day, Jack the Ripper simply disappeared. The murder stopped. It's unclear if the killer fled, died, or met some other fate, but before the autumn of 1888 came to a close, Jack the Ripper's violent streak had ended. Police at the time had pursued multiple leads investigating numerous potential suspects, but were ultimately unable to pin the murders on any one person. This, and the gruesome nature of the killing, has made Jack the Ripper a topic of cultural fascination ever since. Today, you can even go on Jack the Ripper's tours in London that explores the sites of his crimes. One question has remained on people's minds, though. Just who was Jack the Ripper? Surely, with such a prominence in the true crime genre and the advent of modern DNA analysis, the killer's identity should be known. As it turns out, that might be the case, though not everyone is convinced. And also, too, since this also comes to mind, we do have psychics, mediums. So that kind of makes me question that if someone can communicate with the dead or even feel energies of an area, couldn't they somehow help solve who Jack the Ripper is? What do you guys think? Dusty goes, I think it was the quiet neighbor that didn't bother anyone and kind of antisocial. Bia goes, a few years ago, there were reports of DNA being discovered. I kind of agree with what Dusty said, and I feel like he was just like a normal person that no one would suspect. Bernadette is asking, are you still gonna watch the Barbie movie? I have not decided yet. I'm still undecided about that one because that is the biggest horror movie ever. Left toenail hurts. Thank you for gifting 10 memberships. Welcome, Rich, Buddy, JS, Welderman, Shiloh Toto, Ashley's World, Mad Scientist, Patrick Barron, Mason Bennett, and Brand. You are all gifted a membership by Left Toenail Hurts Salvatore. Hearts for Left Toenail and all the new Wolf Pack members, guys. Thank you, Heather Salvatore. Here's some. All right. Thank you, Left Toenail Hurts. Left Toenail Hurts goes, I am undecided to watch it myself. Heather Whatever goes, Lisa waiting for Barbie Offkins movie. Yes, I am. I really am. There's no lie to that one, Heather Whatever. Left toenail. Left toenail. I did not say left tit. I think I was in mid laugh when I was saying left toe. You gotta love the names though. Keeps it interesting. She goes, "Yes, you did." Bia goes, "Aaron Kaminsky, he was supposedly a barber." Well, we'll find out. Brandon go, "What got into the water?" So, did medical records and witness descriptions unveil Jack the Ripper's identity? In July of 2023, The Independent reported that a former police volunteer named Sarah Bax Horton claimed to have identified Jack the Ripper thanks to medical records and witness descriptions of the man reportedly seen with the killer's victim just before they were murdered. Horton's grandfather had worked on the Ripper's case back in the day, prompting her to become equally interested in unmasking the killer. After examining the same documents her grandpa did with fresh eyes, Horton declared that a man named Haim Himes was Jack the Ripper. Who was Haim Himes, you asked? Himes, or Yams, if the H was silent, was a cigar maker living in Whitechapel at the time of the killings. He was an alcoholic and an epileptic who was frequently in and out of mental asylums. Police at the time noted that the Ripper was highly skilled with a knife, leading them to believe the killer may have been a doctor of some kind, but Himes' work would have also made him proficient with a blade. The cigar maker was also known to be violent. He suspended his wife of cheating on him and assaulted her multiple times, and he was arrested after he attacked both his wife and his mother with a chopper. As an injury left Himes unable to bend or extend his left arm, and he was likewise unable to straighten his knees, leading to an irregular gait. This gait was something noted among eyewitnesses who reported seeing the Ripper. During the time of the Ripper's killings in 1888, Himes continued to decline both physically and mentally. Then, in September 1889, this deeply troubled man was permanently committed to a mental institution. Himes certainly seemed to fit the Ripper's description, but skeptics have argued that this is not enough evidence to identify Himes as a Ripper without a doubt. This explanation, for example, does not explain the understanding of human anatomy the Ripper was thought to have. Some of the Ripper's victims. And thank you for gifting 5 more memberships. Welcome. Dana loves Maui, Valerie, Deidre, Kevin, and Hillary to the Wolf Pack. Hearts for Anne and the new Wolf Pack members. And just a reminder, if you're not familiar with memberships, your gifted membership is good for 1 month. Thank you, Anne. You are awesome. You rock. And I'll give you a little twerking skeletons for that. Thank you, Anne. And guys, when you get a chance, don't forget to smash that like button. I know in this view it's a little in the vertical view it's a little confusing as to where the like button is. It is sometimes, not always, because sometimes with me it's not always there, but it's the 3 dots in the upper right hand corner. When you get a chance, I will really appreciate that. Some of the Ripper's victims had their organs removed, and some of these organs were positioned deliberately alongside the woman's bodies. And considering when the bodies were discovered, the organs would have had to have been removed in a very short period of time. This meant that the Ripper would have needed to possess a certain level of anatomical knowledge. That's not to say the Ripper couldn't have been Himes, just that some more evidence might be needed to close the case once and for all. Of course, Hams or Yams, if the H were silent, is that the only suspect still being examined in the case. And one name seemed to keep coming up again and again: Aaron Kozminski. Genetic analysis may have identified Aaron Kominsky as Jack the Ripper. And I apologize, guys. I cannot read today for some odd reason. I don't know what's up with me. Tyranna! Thank you for the super sticker hearts for Tyranna as well. Thank you, Thank you, Tyranna! Genetic analysis may have identified Aaron Kozminski as Jack the Ripper. A disturbed barber who suffered from severe mental illness, Aaron Kaminsky has been linked to the Jack the Ripper case for years. But in 2019, a study published in the Journal of Forensic Sciences claimed to have found strong evidence that suggested Kaminsky was indeed the serial killer. The evidence came... Sorry, guys. The evidence came in form of a shawl that had allegedly belonged to the victim, Catherine Eddowes. On the shawl was blood and semen, which researchers examined and linked to a living relative of Aaron Kaminsky. That is crazy. Though the study didn't definitely prove that Kaminsky was Jack the Ripper, the matching DNA certainly made a compelling argument. However, the shawl wasn't confirmed to have been at the crime scene. Additionally, the fabric itself was incredibly fine, likely too fine for a sex worker of the era, and it was probably produced in Russia. Meanwhile, others argued that the study only involved mitochondrial DNA, which isn't conclusive enough evidence to connect the barber to the killings. It should be noted, though, that Kaminsky's name was likely listed in police notes during the initial Ripper investigation. Furthermore, a contemporary source described Kaminsky as a person who had a great hatred of women, especially of the prostitute class, and had strong homicidal tendencies. Certified as insane, he was sent to a lunatic asylum around March of 1889. Once again, a healthy amount of skepticism prevents experts from concluding with 100% certainty that Kaminsky was the killer, and even more recent evidence could point to someone else entirely. Angel, thank you for being a member of the Wolf Pack for 5 months. That's why they think it may have been a surgeon? Possibility, because they were saying that the way that the body parts were laid out, and how quickly it was done, if I'm not mistaken, is why they think it might have been someone that had knowledge of the human body. So it would make sense that they would think it was a surgeon, but they're pointing it toward Kaminsky because I guess there was blood on one of the victim's shawls and DNA on that shawl that they tested against a relative of Kaminsky, and it pointed out that it matched, but it was only a certain type of DNA, which this article said the mitochondrial DNA, which isn't conclusive enough. I'm not familiar with DNA. With the different types of DNA, so I'm not sure which one is considered conclusive enough, but Heather whatever goes to the precise cuts. Gunner Girl goes, I've seen a movie that said he was a surgeon. Bernadette goes, surgeon or a butcher? True. Bia goes, blood and semen. Yep. Heather whatever goes, that's touch DNA though, the mother's line. Elaine goes, that is DNA from the mom, I think. Okay, I am not familiar with DNA, the types of DNA. or the by the name, so I apologize that guys. That was something I did not study back in school. Bia goes, the mDNA is from the mother's line? Okay, so it's from the mother's side. The, mito mitochondrial DNA is from the mother's side. Angel goes, "Oh, crazy. I'd love to see this case close, and without a shadow of doubt, they know for sure." Dana loves Maui goes, "Yes, it's from the mother." Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Carol goes, "They linked his DNA to his relatives. A long lost Kane puts a face to the killer." In January of 2024, Popular Mechanics reported that a long lost cane belonging to a detective who investigated Jack the Ripper has been discovered. The case has belonged to The cane had belonged to Frederick Aberlin, an officer who worked on Jack the Ripper case in 1888. Aberlin's cane had a custom engraving and was held in the police college in Bramshill, Hampshire, but when the institution shut down in 2015, it was believed that the cane had been lost. The cane recently reappeared, though, and it is significant because Aberlin had carved a facial composite image of Jack the Ripper into the cane based on witness testimonies of the time. It's the only known such composite. Whoa, that is kind of cool, actually. While this doesn't confirm Jack the Ripper's identity by any means or give him definite name, it could go a long way in helping modern ripperologists with verifying the composite image and eyewitness testimonies. This mythology would be similar to the Sarah Bax Hortons and could perhaps even prove her theory correct. Of course, even if this were to happen, there would literally still be plenty of skeptics and naysayers claiming that the evidence is not sufficient enough. Only time will tell if Jack the Ripper's identity is ever confirmed and if the case will ever be closed. But for now, there's no shortage of theories. So, guys, who do you think it is after reading this article? Because it kind of was inconclusive. B.S. Stone goes, "The only reason I was aware is because I share the same T1A1 DNA. Oh, okay. Carol goes, "They found it on the clothes they found at the couple of crime scenes." Even though it's the mother's side DNA, I still feel like, why would his DNA be on the shawl? But then again, I don't. It was saying it was on, give me a second, guys. On Catherine Eddowes' shawl that they found blood and bodily fluids. Bernadette goes, "Didn't they also say he might have been connected to the Victorian royals?" That I'm not sure of, Bernadette. It did not say that in this article, but he very may well have been. And goes, "I say watch the Barbie movie. Bernadette is right." Chris Barber goes, "I'm not sure if I would trust DNA that was over 100 years old." They're solving crimes with DNA that has happened in the past. So I have no problem with them using DNA from 100 years. Bia goes, "Mother passes the DNA to the kids. It was in his bodily fluid. Heather whatever goes, it only picked up a line related to the mother of the person. But still, though, why would that be on his shawl? On her shawl, I'm sorry. And Heather, whatever goes, they can do it. Remember them trying to revive the woolly mammoth? They can do it. So I do trust 100. I do trust DNA from 100 years ago. But I guess they're not trusting it because it's only from the mother side. Exactly, Bia. His bodily fluids was on the shawl. So to me, that makes him at the scene or had made not necessarily been at the scene, but he had contact with her. And just a little insight with Catherine Eddowes, which is the shawl where the shawl came back in question. Here's a little backstory on her. She was the fourth victim of Jack the Ripper. In the early hours of September 30th, 1888, Catherine Eddowes was found murdered in London's Mitry Square. Her body had been severely mutilated and her left kidney had been removed. As Jack the Ripper's fourth known victim, Catherine Eddowes faced a gruesome death. Wandering the streets of London on a fateful night, the 46-year-old had no idea that she was about to meet a monster. On September 30th, 1888, her mutilated corpse was found in London's Mitry Square by police officer Edward Watkins. The grisly discovery was made all the more disturbing by the fact that Watkins and other night watchmen had not seen anything amiss in the square before the murder. Eddowes' killer had struck quickly and quietly before vanishing into the night. Although Jack the Ripper had already killed at least 3 other women, the degree to which Eddowes had been tortured was especially shocking to the public as London went on high alert. The murder of Eddowes stayed at the forefront of many residents' minds, and in the following years, the brutal slaying would go on to define the terrifying legacy of the serial killer. I kind of wanted to see if it said that she was like a woman of the night. Born in 1842 in England, Catherine Eddowes was the daughter of a tin plate worker. Not much is known for sure about her early life, as a contemporary newspaper gave varied accounts of her history. Though Eddowes, I think it's Eddowes, clearly had financial difficulties, her friends and family members describe her as a very jolly woman who was often heard singing. While some sources describe her as a prostitute, her relatives were adamant that she was not a sex worker. However, some of her loved ones did claim that she had a drinking problem. On September 29th, 1888, the day before her murder, Eddowes was supposed to travel to Bermondsey to borrow money from her daughter. Eddowes' partner, a man named John Kelly, had parted ways with her that afternoon. He planned to reunite with her later in the evening. In an interview with the Star on October 3rd, Kelly said, "When she did not come home at night, I didn't worry for her. I thought her daughter might have asked her to stay over Sunday with her." Kelly didn't know it at the time, but he would never see Eddowes again. The same evening, around 8:30 p.m., a police officer named Lewis Robinson encountered a crowd of people hovering over a woman who was lying drunk on the ground. The woman was Catherine, who had parted ways with Kelly just hours earlier. Robinson took Eddowes to Bishopsgate police station and detained her as she slept off her intoxication. By about 12:15, Catherine was awake and singing in the station. Before long, she began complaining about being detained, lamenting that she'd be in trouble when she got home. The police finally released her at about 1 a.m., right around the time when other officers were discovering the body of Elizabeth Stride. Whoa! Unbeknownst to Eddowes, Jack the Ripper had murdered Stride earlier that same night, but because she was almost caught mid-crime, he didn't have time to mutilate her like he did with the other victims. And so when he found the vulnerable Catherine wandering toward Mitchard Square, he made sure no one was looking when he viciously attacked. So they're saying that some are saying she was a sex worker, and some are adamant that they're saying that's not, because I'm just wondering, because that would explain why she would have bodily fluids on her shawl. Angel goes, yeah, it was a very poor side of town, and drinking and working the night were very common. Heather, whatever, the one with the shawl was said to not make enough money as a lady of the night to afford that shawl. Yeah, because they said the shawl was like expensive. Julissa goes, I thought all his victims were ladies. That's what I was thinking, but I wanted to make sure um if she was. But that article's kind of not saying she is. They're saying some say she is and some say she's not. Invisible Rose, what's up? And then also too, they're saying that her face was very mutilated. So whoa. So then it goes on. It goes, despite the fact that he was operating on a time crunch because they had discovered um his previous victim, so they were already on high alert, and he decided to attack again, which is crazy. The Ripper still chose to seek out a new victim. Such an action underscored his horrific bloodlust, which resulted in yet another heinous crime. Which is crazy. Daisy, what's up? Bia goes, she might have been just drunk, hungover, and vulnerable. Exactly. True. Elaine goes, in the movie, I have not seen uh From Hell, or I mean, it's been a while since I've seen a Jack the Ripper film. It's been a while. So I cannot really confirm that, Elaine, but she goes, in the movie, I think she married a guy that was well off. And then also too, sometimes movies add things to add excitement to the story, or they'll take away things. So I can't really go by what a movie says sometimes, because they'll leave things out, or they'll add things. Um or they'll change it to make it more interesting. A guy that was well off and had a baby but used to be a woman of the night. Don't quote me on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Heather, whatever goes, she was just a lady walking around at night. She was basically just someone. I want to say maybe possibly she wasn't a lady of the night, but she was drunk and in the wrong place at the wrong time. Chris Barbie goes, he could have been planning to kill her, but killed some ladies of the night to put her in that category to try to create a narrative. Maybe. Maybe. And she was just, like I said, in the wrong place at the wrong time. Which, and they go, if someone had said maybe Jack the Ripper was a woman. I'm not sure who that was in the chat. But Chris Barber goes, women aren't usually that vicious. I mean, I'd be surprised, but you never know though. Like you can't like cross people off. But I think it was a guy. I don't think it was a female. And I think it was the one that they had originally said. I want to say it's him because they did find DNA on one of the victims and it pointed to him, but we will never know the exact uh like the exact person. But I think there was probably a lot, Heather, whatever, there was probably a lot of people back then that drank that drank a lot. Chris Barbie goes, I lived in London and was in some scary situations in the 90s. Oh wow. Mr. Ruck Gaming, how's it going? Heather, whatever goes, they didn't mention, no, they did not mention the royal family member in the article at all. Not at all. And this article, and the article I was reading was fairly recent. It's from uh April 5th. So it wasn't that bad at all. Bia goes Russian. No, I don't think so. Elaine goes, riddle me this. How do they know it was mitochondrial DNA if they don't have a good read on exactly who it was? Is it possible it's a keep it on the download situation? I don't think that. Why would they keep that on the download? Because this is something that happened a long time ago. So I don't think that's something they would want to keep on the download. Because it's not like an ongoing investigation where these crimes were committed recently. Chris goes, I have a photo of the boys when they were little. Do you want them? If you want to send them. So I don't think they would hide anything, but you never know. Maybe they do know and they just want the mystery to continue. Like they know exactly who did it, but they don't want to let it know because they want they want the conversation to continue. Carol Smart goes, if I heard right, he has a distant relative alive today. Bernadette goes, the theory was then also taken up by Dr. Thomas Stoll. He published an article which accused Prince Albert Victor of being Jack the Ripper, based mainly on the findings of the prince's physician. Ooh. It did not say that. Hold on. What? Hold on. Prince Albert Victor? Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, here's an article. I don't know how it goes. Jack the Ripper tour. It has Jack the Ripper suspects. Give me a second, guys. So I found this article that shows the different suspects that they suspected. It's from Jack the Ripper tour, which you can book now because there is a tour that you could go on. More than 130 years after the infamous Whitechapel murders, the identity of Jack the Ripper remains unknown. Over the course of the last century, many potential assailants have been cast under the spotlight, some of whom were quite recent in relations to the attack, but no one has ever been able to pin the gruesome crimes to just one person. Some Jack the Ripper suspects have convincing profiles that seem to fit the crimes committed over the course of those fateful 3 years, whilst others are more obscure and some are simply downright strange. Every Ripperologist has their own take on the most plausible Jack the Ripper suspect and why they believe they could be London's most famous serial killer. But who do you think did it? From Prince Albert to James Maybrick, Jack the Ripper suspects encompasses people from all walks of life. But ultimately, everything is speculation at this point. With the advancement of modern technology throwing up more questions than its answers, the unknown identity of the serial killer who stalks the streets of the East End is what makes Jack the Ripper just as fascinating now as he was a century ago. Who knows? Maybe a new Jack the Ripper suspect will be revealed over the coming years. For now, discover some of the key suspects and most notable names that have been linked to the case and learn more about the principal Jack the Ripper suspects, their lives, potential motives, and their connection to the Ripper's murder. So it goes Carl Feigenbaum, German-born Carl Feigenbaum, has long since been suspected of being the notorious killer that terrorized Whitechapel. However, it is just one of many theories thrown around in regards to the Ripper's identity. Our Jack the Ripper walking tour offers these who are uneducated on his crimes the chance to decide whose theory it is they believe to be true or especially divulge a theory of their own. When it comes to Mr. Feigenbaum, there are numerous arguments for and against that suggest he could be Jack the Ripper. Hold on, I went down a rabbit hole. Joseph Barnett. Joseph Barnett was the one-time boyfriend of Ripper victim Mary Jane Kelly. He's the only suspect who's known to have a direct link with one of the victims. Born on 25th of May, 1858 at 4 Harebrum Court, Whitechapel, Barnett's parents were John and Catherine Barnett, who had originally moved from Ireland to settle in Britain, where John took up work offboarding ships by the London docks. Some years later, John would become a licensed fish porter in Billingsgate Market. By 1871, Joseph Barnett followed in his father's footsteps and gained his fish porter license. Joseph was also registered on the census as living at number 4 Osborne Street in the heart of what later became known as Jack the Ripper's stomping ground. I think those people are just in the wrong place because he is a fisherman. And I feel like the person that did these crimes, as the previous article said, he knows the human anatomy. Chris goes, what does the DNA says? The DNA, it had said from the first article I had read, it said it was, which he is in this article. Said it was Aaron Kaminsky. And that's what they're pointing out, but it's not conclusive, is basically what they're saying. They're still not giving, like, with the first article I read, it's not, like, giving a definite answer. Then it goes, Francis Craig. In 2015, a new name in the form of Francis Craig was raised as a suspect in Jack the Ripper case, but who was he? And could he really have been the killer? With numerous theories released year on year as to whom the killer could have been, it is difficult to take many with more than a pinch of salt. However, there is one theory that refused to disappear after coming to light in 2015 as a result of Dr. Winston Davis' books on Mary Jane Kelly, the last of the Canonical Five. Prince Albert Victor. Over the years, there have been many theories surrounding the identity of Jack the Ripper, yet despite the wide array of suspects and the best efforts of amateur sleuths around the world, the identity of this elusive criminal remains a mystery. However, while sifting through the list of suspects, one of the most shocking names you might encounter is that of Prince Albert Victor. Could royalty have been the Ripper? And it's true because, like what Bernadette says, they're good at covering up things. Jade Rick, what is up? Montague John Druitt. Over the years, many potential Jack the Ripper suspects have been identified and discussed in detail. Police detectives and amateur sleuths alike have waded in, all keen to give their opinion and share their thoughts on the Ripper case. However, one of the names that commonly crop up again and again is that of Montague John Druitt. Who was the man, and could he have been Jack the Ripper? There's more. I mean, I could read more if you guys want me to. There is more on these people. Michael Ostrog. There are many Jack the Ripper suspects. Some are plausible, while others are much less likely to have been the mystery killer. One suspect that you may not know much about is a man named Michael Ostrog. But could Ostrog have been Jack the Ripper? We've compiled the evidence to help you discover more about the man and make your own mind up as his guilt or innocent. Francis Tumbley. Dr. Francis Tumbley was a mysterious individual who came to the attention of the Metropolitan Police in the late 1880s. During the manhunt of Jack the Ripper, there was many suspicious circumstances surrounding Tumbley, but he was actually a doctor. So, out of all the people that they've mentioned, he's the first one that they said is an actual doctor. James Maybrick. Many Jack the Ripper suspects have been discussed over the years. Some are highly plausible, some less so. But with the identity of Ripper still a mystery, will we ever succeed in pinpointing the man behind the mask beyond all doubt? James Maybrick is one of the most plausible Ripper suspects due to several pieces of key evidence which came to light after his death. And then Aaron Kaminsky. Aaron Kaminsky is perhaps one of the most well-known Jack the Ripper suspects, in part thanks to recent DNA analysis and investigation of a shawl that allegedly belonged to the fourth Ripper victim, Catherine. With the modern scientific evidence being branded as unreliable and case files from the actual police investigation inconclusive, and then Walter Sickert. Walter Sickert is one of the most recent Jack the Ripper suspects, having not been named a suspect until some 80 years after the infamous Whitechapel murders. However, those pointing the finger at the renowned artist have invested huge amounts of time and money into proving that he was. David Cohen. Could they identify the history's most notorious killer have remained a secret for more than a century because of the case of mistaken identity? Maybe. Thomas Cutbush. Thomas Cutbush was one of the suspects that the Sun newspaper had their eye on, but could he have been the legendary Jack the Ripper? Severin Kl- Klas- Klawowski? Severin Klawowski, perhaps better known as George Chapman, was a convicted Polish serial killer. Someone in the chat had mentioned Polish, who was also named as one of the infamous Jack the Ripper suspects. Despite his pseudonym, he bears no relation to the Ripper victims Annie Chapman, but what other ties does Klawowski have with Jack the Ripper? Dr. Neil Cream, Robert Mann. He was brought to international attention in 2009 when author MJ Thoreau highlighted evidence to suggest Mann could have been behind the gruesome killings by Jack the Ripper. That said, is there really enough evidence to confidently put Robert Mann's name forward as a suspect? George Hutchinson is a rather mysterious figure in the field of ripperology. As a suspect, there is little major forensic evidence which incriminate Home. Most of the reasoning is simply conjecture. Wow, there's a lot of people that they suspect. William Bury was living in the East End during the time of the Whitechapel murders, yet wasn't incriminated as a potential subject until later, when his future crimes would resemble those of the infamous Ripper. So speaking of, where is he? Prince Albert Victor. Prince Albert Victor, over the years, there have been many theories surrounding the identity of Jack the Ripper, yet despite the wide array of suspects and the best efforts of amateur sleuths around the world, the identity of the elusive criminal remains a mystery. However, while sifting through the list of suspects, one of the most shocking names you might encounter is that of Prince Albert Victor. Could royalty have been the Ripper? Who is Prince Albert Victor? Prince Albert Victor, the grandson of Queen Victoria, was second in line to the British throne. Even though he had an illustrious future to look forward to, things quickly went awry for the prince. A stagnant military career, apathetic personality, and rumored homosexuality all contributed to the fact that he was largely seen as a disappointment to the royal family before his premature death in 1892 at the age of just 28. There's much speculation surrounding Prince Albert Victor's later life and final years, not least because of his rumored connection to Jack the Ripper and the Whitechapel murders. But despite his privileged upbringing, was a life of wealth and luxury not enough to satisfy Prince Albert Victor's bloodlust? Could this intriguing figure have been the mystery man behind the horrific spat of murders that shook the East End all these years ago? A bold theory. This theory first came to light in 1962 in a book written by Philippi Julian. Perhaps conveniently for Julian, most of the key names in the original Ripper investigation had passed away by this time. Julian's bold theory linked Prince Albert Victor with the horrifying murders committed by Jack the Ripper. In fact, he even suggested that the prince was the Ripper himself, a shocking claim indeed. The theory was then also taken up by Dr. Thomas Stowell. He published an article which accused Prince Albert Victor of being Jack the Ripper, based mainly on the findings of the prince's physician, Sir William Gull. While Julian's theory may be compelling, its main opposition came from the fact that Julian never provided any solid proof to substantiate his claim. Any theory submitted without clear evidence to support it is always going to come under doubt and suspicion, and this is exactly the case with Julian's theory. However, one of the main reasons behind the theory and also providing the evidence that Stowell mentioned in the article was his health and mental condition. Additionally, Prince Albert Victor's death was also heavily scrutinized. According to Dr. Stowell, Prince Albert Victor contracted syphilis in the West Indies. It is said that the fatal disease led to the decline of Prince's mental health, eventually causing him to become insane. Dr. Stowell also said that it was the insanity that compelled him to become Jack the Ripper and murder a string of vulnerable women in the East End. What's more is Dr. Stowell went to claim that the royal family were fully aware of both Prince Albert Victor's deteriorating mental health and his secret identity as Jack the Ripper. He says that despite the fact that the royal family knew about the murders and who was behind them, they chose to do nothing. Moreover, no attempts were made to restrain Prince Albert Victor until after the double event, the murders of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes on the same night. As the syphilis worsened, the prince's mental state continued to go downhill until eventually he was confined to an asylum where he spent his remainder of his days. Despite the bold nature of the theory and claims the concrete evidence to support it was minimal at best. For starters, although Dr. Story claimed to have used Sir William Gull's medical notes as a basis of his article, that was never proven. Gull passed away in 1890, 2 years after the Ripper murders, yet 2 years before Prince Albert Victor's death. That is crazy on that one. And then the guy that they had found the DNA evidence, which I kind of feel like it's more pointing toward him, but it's still. So who was Aaron Kaminsky? Believed to have been born in Russia in 1865. Aaron Mork or Mortke Kosminski, known later as Aaron Kaminsky, was a Polish Jew who immigrated with his sister when he was just 15 years old. Initially, he moved to Germany before eventually traveling to London, England, where he took up residence in the slums of Whitechapel. Kaminsky works sporadically as a barber, but is believed to have been heavily reliant on support from his family. In July of 1890, he was admitted to Mile End Old Town Workhouse before being released just 3 days later. However, he was admitted again in February the following year following claims that he had been exhibiting threatening behavior with a knife toward women. He spent a short time here before transferred to Colony Health Lunatic Asylum, but before being moved again to Levingston Asylum in April of 1894. Known to hear voices and have a fear of eating or drinking anything from others, Kaminsky was paranoid and emaciated before and during his incarceration. That was in addition to his outright refusal to wash. He was just 53 years old when he died of gangrene in February of 1919. At the time of Jack the Ripper killings, Kaminsky was 23 years old, believed to have a poor grasp of English and slight of build thanks to his peculiar eating habits, which is a stretch from the late 30s or 40-something stocky male that many describe the Ripper as being so. How did he find himself named as one of the suspects on the biggest murder investigation of all time? Bernadette goes not if he snuck out. Commenting to Dusty's comment, wouldn't the prince have been surrounded by security while out and about? And Bernadette goes, not if he snuck out. Security wasn't the same back then like today. True. It wasn't. Chris Barbie Salvatore. I guess I would have to check the timeline for the prince. Bernadette saying something about porn stashes. Now reading about Aaron goes was Aaron Kaminsky Jack the Ripper? Although not officially named as suspect by police investigating the Jack the Ripper killing, the name Kaminsky has cropped up multiple times over the years. Firstly, Chief Inspector Swanson was also a firm believer that Kominsky was a prime Jack the Ripper suspect. Alongside this Kaminsky, no first name was noted in memos written by Assistant Chief Constable Sir Melville Magnatin in 1894. In his notes, he described Kaminsky as a Polish Jew of low class with a hatred of women and homicidal tendencies. In addition, the name Kaminsky also appeared in the memoirs of Assistant Commissioner Sir Robert Anderson in 1910. Based on Kaminsky's violent outburst with a knife that led to his arrest and detainment in the workhouse and subsequently Colney Hatch Asylum. However, his evidence comes under scrutiny at the point as Anderson went on to say that Kaminsky died shortly after the arrest, despite it being believed that Aaron Kaminsky died many years later in 1919. The biggest piece of evidence that points the finger firmly at Aaron Kaminsky, however, has to be the discovery of a stained and bloody shawl that was found at the murder scene of the Ripper's fourth victim, Catherine Eddowes. After allegedly being removed from official police evidence and handed down through the family, the shawl was bought at auction by author Russell Edwards in 2014, who immediately commissioned a DNA test to be undertaken at the hands of Dr. Jerry Luhillinen. I am butchering this name. The initial results were met with skepticism as they lacked peer reviews. However, they were rerun again in the early 2019 by Liverpool John Moores. My thing is, it says it was handed down through the family. So how did they, if it was handed down through the family, I'm pretty sure it wasn't secured. The initial results were met with skepticism as they lacked peer reviews. However, they were rerun again in the early 2019, which corroborated the fact that mitochondrial DNA was present, which matched descendants of both Catherine and Aaron. So I don't know about that one. So it kind of, yeah, that kind of makes it, because it says it was handed down throughout the years until the guy bought it at auction. So that makes no sense at all whatsoever. Heather, whatever goes, wouldn't hold up in court. So, guys, who do you think it could be? Angel goes, this guy seems likely to me. I mean, considering they found DNA on that matched both the victim and it kind of makes me. Ozzy Walks goes, Lichmere. Tyrana goes, he was. I agree. Elaine goes, that guy you know in the family. Heather, whatever goes, upcoming trial, one drop of blood is touch DNA, I think. I mean, it points to Aaron. It does point to him, but they're not giving us definite answers. Bia goes, but at what point in time did Aaron's DNA get into the shawl if he hated women? Seems like when he killed her. True. Dusty goes, due to the gruesome display of organs, I think it was a doctor. Bernadette goes, I don't think we'll ever know. We won't ever know. Only the spirits of the victims would know. Which makes me think, has anybody ever gone over there and taken a psychic out to the area and see if they could pick up on anything? Elaine goes, which fam? I'm not sure. Because I feel like if you take a reputable psychic medium, take them to the area, I feel like we would get some sort of answer, something. Has anyone ever thought of doing that? I'm not sure. Heather whatever goes could be a nephew. Bernadette goes a legit medium though. No, that's what I'm saying, Bernadette. Like a renowned, like a reputable. That's why I said reputable Bernadette. Chris Barr goes, they probably have. I agree with you, Gunner Girl. It'd always be a mystery. All right, guys, I'm gonna open it up to question and answers a little early. Um, ask away, guys. Could be ghost related, could be UFO related, could be true crime related. Angel goes, we could continue talking about Jack the Ripper. Angel goes, but with the precise cuts and placing of organs, something to think about. Would a mental patient be able to do that? I agree with that. I don't think so. It has to be someone that has a background. Um, Even if the gentleman's DNA was on there, I don't think uh he would be able to slice open someone and be able to know. I agree with you, Angel, on that one. To be able to do it and do it so quickly. Elaine goes, it's worth a shot. I mean, a start to an answer is still a start. True. Heather, whatever goes, you guys go. I'll wait at the airport. Save your seat. I'm not a psychic medium, though. And I don't know. I don't know any psychic mediums. Carol goes, this depends on the type of mental disability he had. They can still true. They can. Doesn't there's a lot of self-taught people. Or there's people that do their own research and learn how to do things but don't actually go to school for it. I don't know about now if anybody would do that, but Bia goes, he used a razor in his job. How many women did he murder before he displayed organs? Heather, whatever goes, maybe he hurt animals? Maybe. All right, guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, I'm going to open it up to questions and answers a little bit earlier this time. That's a good question. Carol goes, I wonder if he could have stolen dead bodies from graves to learn how. Elaine goes, Lisa taught me how to thumbs up during vertical earlier. Thank you, Elaine. Wait a minute, hold on. There's something cool. Well, I guess it's not cool. I know some of you guys follow Scientology, and you guys could still ask questions, but I just kind of had a ADHD moment here. I tend to do that sometimes. I know some of you guys follow Scientology. I'm not huge into it, but I do find it kind of interesting. And uh I looked into, because you see some of these YouTubers, they're out at the blue building. So I was wondering, and I had seen people in the comments say, I don't know why I'm stuttering today. I can't talk today. Uh it's probably because I'm kind of tired. I don't know what it is. Uh I've heard people say that it used to be a hospital, so I started looking into it, and it used to be the blue building that you see, like, a lot of, like, you've seen Nerd Report at, you've seen, Jessica Palmadesa's been there, DOA's been there, um, for all you that follow Scientology. Well, the blue building used to be Cedars of Lebanon Hospital, which provided care for Hollywood stars such as Marilyn Monroe, Errol Flynn, Mae West, and Burt Lancaster. And I believe it was built in 1930, if I'm not mistaken. So I thought that was like, the fact that I do believe Scientology is a cult, and we don't know what they do to people. To be honest with you, we don't know who what they actually do to people if they rebel. Um, because I was watching a, what you call it, a documentary here on YouTube. It was on 60 Minutes Australia, and it was the niece of David Miscavige, and she had said, like, they try to make you feel bad about it, like they badger you about it. So it makes me wonder, like, what's going on in that blue building, but not the fact that it was also a hospital. So it makes me, Heather, whatever goes right, that's where I'm going towards, spirits. Whatever, Heather Salvatore, what are you talking about? But it makes me wonder, you don't know, like, what spirits are there, including what has happened since Scientology has gotten there. So I thought it was kind of interesting. And then the celebrity building, which you also see that's across the street from La Poubelle, was a former apartment complex and hotel to the stars. The 7-story building opened in 1929, and it's built in the style of a 17th century French Normandy castle. It is a city historic cultural monument that no one can go see except for the people that are stuck in Scientology, unfortunately. Heather, whatever goes, L. Ron Zombie. I don't think Scientology got a hold of the blue building until the 70s. But that's a little interesting fact. I was tempted, but I don't want to, because then the Scientologists are going to call the cops saying that I have a pew pew in my hand. I was tempted to walk around with my EMF meter, but that place, I do not trust those people, and I don't trust that place. So it's like, at all. Elaine goes, I don't think Scientology made things better there for sure. No, they didn't. They did not. And it's sad to think that there's people spending all this money for classes thinking that they have to get rid of this thing that's inside of them because they were pulled in. Like, it really is. It's sad. And then, of course, there's the people that grew up in it that don't know any better. But obviously, they do see the protesters out there because of the help that was in the window last week, I believe. But I feel sorry for that person because whoever that person was, they definitely took them. They took them somewhere. And I want to say the base. I hate to say this, but I want to say the basement. But I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what goes on there, but I feel bad for those people. Chris Barber goes, I still can't believe that the cult is still around. Angel goes, you're smart. Just avoid that whole situation. Exactly. I don't, because they'll be like, you have a pew pew. And I'm like, dude, I'm hunting ghosts. I'm not even here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to. Bernadette goes, Scientology are actually living demons. If you think about it, manipulate you and lie and torture. Yeah, they kind of are. They do. And the sad thing is they're not even a religion and they use like the blue building has a cross on top of it. Like what the hell? Julissa goes, I don't understand the people that choose to follow them. I don't either, but usually it's probably the people that are down and out and looking for a change and looking for help. And they're looking at it and they're thinking, oh, this is a church and they're gonna help me, and it's not. Dusty goes, could have isolation cells in the base. They could. That's the sad thing. They could. Because that building's huge. And it used to be a hospital, so I'm assuming there's a basement. For sure. There's definitely a basement. Chris Barber goes, how can all those celebrities believe in that crap? I have no idea. I really do not. Julissa goes, maybe the cross was there from when it was a hospital. Maybe, but still, though. Like, it's deceiving. Bernadette goes, they have their own cross, not the one we are used to. But still, they're deceiving. They're very deceiving. Very deceptive. Heather, whatever goes, it's theirs, just my opinion. They claim that, but it's a tax dodge. They believe they will be their own god with their own planet. Elaine goes, the horrible things inside of them are their souls and their free will. Those are God's gifts. Just saying. Done with my rant. Yeah, true. Tarana goes, yes, very deceiving. They are super deceiving. They are. And then they use the holidays to trick people. Like fun hospitals, like Easter, Christmas. They're using those to trick people, and it's like, what the hell? Heather, whatever goes, they are tricky. And I do believe some of the cops are in on it. Chris Barber. I'm not gonna repeat what you said. You guys can read it in the chat. Alright, guys, you have any questions? Bia says the Bible warns of false teachings, which if you read what they preach, it's something out of a sci-fi movie. Angel goes straight manipulation, torture, and deception. Exactly. Tyrannigo, they are just evil and the cops don't help at all. I believe some of them are in on it too. They're part of it. Which is sad. Heather, whatever goes, I wouldn't want to go in that building. I wouldn't either. It's like creepy looking from the outside. I've never actually been in front of it, but what I've seen of it on TV, it's creepy looking. It's creepy. Like it's like a horror movie in real life. I consider it horrific. It's super horrific. Tyrana goes, I think they pay the cop. I think they do too. They pay the cops to help Scientology. Heather Wetter says it's worse in Florida. In Clearwater, I think is where. Julissa with the donuts. Gunner girl, I agree. It's a horrible situation that needs to be stopped. It is. I mean, you can't stop. It's like a choice for someone to be in there, but if someone wants to get out, they should have a choice to be able to get out. Chris Barber goes, just another reason for me to not like Florida. Not all Florida's bad, Chris. I just don't. It's humid. All right, guys. Any last minute questions? Bernadette's been watching Leah Remini's doc. Man, that is some crazy story. She even said she only had an 8th grade education. That's sad. That is super sad. It's humid in Florida, though. I don't like humidity. Dusty Lansley's like, don't think you need to point out the duck. The duck is in wide view, guys. I made it easy tonight. Tirana goes, they do need to be stopped. It's awful and sad that it is traffic children treat the elderly bad. They do. And then they make you work. Julissa Lisa does Does Lewis work on Sundays at his shop? He's actually he's taking a break from his shop because he has to take care of a few things. Thank you, Lisa Boo. Thanks, Lisa. Had a great stream. Whatever, Heather Salvatore. Do you love me, Lisa? Elaine goes, that's stunting the growth of a person and their potential. Not cool. It does. It is. Julissa goes, okay, thank you. My husband is down there and wanted to visit next time. Ah, no problem. Tyrana goes, awesome stream. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Tyrana. Any last minute questions, guys? And in case anybody knows, the Quackers, Skeleduck is right there. Where my finger is. I made it easy. Julissa goes, great stream, Lisa. Had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you, Julissa. I appreciate that. Bernadette goes, big booty duck. Ozzy goes, great spending another Sunday afternoon hanging out with y'all. Thank you, Ozzy. Chris Barber goes, I'll get back to my garage sale videos. Great show, Lisa. I'm just making sure no one else is on. It doesn't look like no one else is going to be on. Elaine goes, great stream. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Ozzy's now going to watch Johnny Depp's From Hell. I need to check that out. I don't think I've seen that one. I don't remember seeing it. Heather, whatever's going on, I'm going to watch. Everyone wants to watch Johnny Depp now. I don't remember seeing it. I know of it, but I don't remember seeing it, like actually watching it. But all right, guys, I am going to end the stream here. Thank you for joining me. I will see you guys on the next one, which will be on Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be squared. Also, I may trickle in some videos in between, so keep an eye out on the socials. But thank y'all. You guys are awesome. See you on the next one. Stay spooky, sweet nightmares, and good night, guys. You guys are awesome. I don't know how many times I can say that. You guys are awesome. See you on the next one, guys. Stay spooky.